Good evening, brothers, sisters, and siblings, and welcome back to the Vibe Too Many podcast. Thank you for joining us again today. I, of course, am your host, KJ Collelo, joined as always by...
Ashton Byrne.
Look at that. Another week where we're not getting canceled by our corporate overlords, otherwise known as my friend. Anyway, before we get into our main topic, do we want to get into our pledges from last week? The pledge, for both of us, we made the same pledge, and we gave the same pledge to our audience. And it was just to go outside and talk to some folk.
Does it count if I had to be there?
In all fairness, I went out and talked to like a dude at a deli, just the guy making my sandwich. Hey, that's all.
I guess I bet people.
Were you talking to them on a artificial level with no human interaction?
No, I was talking them to their face, and I was saying how much I like Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
That's a more interesting conversation than I had.
What did you talk about?
It's been a minute since you've been here. Yeah, I've been working. But yeah, I hope everyone else made some connection, talked to some people. So how about we get into this episode?
We're talking about Wonderman, created by Destin Daniel Cretton.
We're talking about Wonderman today, the most recent completed Marvel show.
This show is a highlight in a lot of superhero media that has been released as of late. But I think that's also not a very high bar to meet, so take that with a grain of salt.
I've seen a lot of people talk about how great it is, about how it's, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I think it is on par with kind of everything else. And I'm glad people enjoyed this. I didn't hate this show at all. But I do kind of think it was middle of the road, fine, good.
I watched it, and I thought it was neat.
We'll talk about the good, the bad, the things I really like, because there's some stuff I really enjoyed in this show. Before we get into, the nitty-gritty, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about Destin Daniel Cretton himself. He's a MCU, I would say, mainstay at this point.
Yes, I would agree.
Created this show. Before this, he did Shang-Chi. Ash and I were talking right before we started recording about our love for his first directorial movie in the MCU, which was Shang-Chi.
Just really, really good action sequences. You really feel every, hit, and they're framed in, such a very interesting way. It's not just, eye candy. I feel like every fight really was set up to, build a character arc. It wasn't just we need to have an action set piece now!
You can really tell in it that they cast martial artists in it. Simu Liu is a martial artist. Tony Leung has done some of the greatest martial arts films of all time, as well as just some of the greatest films of all time. If you could do Crouching Tiger, and also In the Mood for Love, you kind of have my undying respect.
Incredible range.
And I don't want to make this too much of a Shang-Chi episode. However, I do want to commend the direction as well as the fight choreography on it. You can tell the different styles of martial arts. Like Tony Leung is this old school martial artist. He's an older guy, so he fights with more wire work, more of the slow, drawn out one. Meanwhile, Simu Liu being more modern age, he fought in this very post John Woo Raid old boy sort of grittier way. And I thought that was really fucking cool to see the different styles between them.
Even the first action sequence when they're on
they're
on the Muni bus. That's the Muni
right.
bus. He's using the environment to kind of kick the shit out of these people. It's moves where it's that, using that environment to one's benefit in an urban setting is very much like John Wick. That's all
yeah.
That's what they do. It's made by stunt people.
Which, and, John Wick's fighting style came from, and I'm not saying this is an insult to John Wick, I'm actually saying it as a compliment, came out of East Asia from these, Hong Kong action films. That fight scene you're talking about to me is very much The Raid.
He did another comic adaptation for Disney. He adapted American-Born Chinese into a miniseries. The second season got canceled, but that first season had really, really very similar, where it was utilizing different like martial art styles to tell different like stories. It was a bit of a different take from like the comic, and like I liked the comic, but I liked like a lot of elements from that TV show as well. That's also good.
But talking about Shang-Chi as well, because I have it on our like little outline we used to in these episodes, where I have just the Shang-Chi sequel, and Ashton's like, "Wait, there's gonna be a Shang-Chi sequel? Give it to us!" It's been in development hell since the first one came out, despite the fact
And
Shang-Chi
like
is one
why?
of the most well-regarded post-Endgame Marvel films.
It was
Despite the
like the only one that people didn't think was like absolute buns.
it was like that and Spider-Man.
But that's
Uh,
Spider-Man.
yeah,
That's because it's
and
Spider-Man.
no one was really a big Shang-Chi fan. I mean, people were, of course, but he wasn't like that big of a character. I didn't really read too much of him. I knew a little bit. But yeah, it was just such a well-done movie. And then they put it in fucking development hell because they're like, oh, we're not going to do the multiverse shit now. And then I think the next big thing, obviously, is he's the director of the new Spider-Man film.
I didn't even know that. That makes me a lot more
Yeah.
excited for that Spider-Man film. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, you announce you're doing a Spider-Man film. I'm gonna be excited for it. It is Spider-Man. And I would say I've been rewarded more than I've been punished. There's more good than bad Spider-Man movies, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to fuck up Spider-Man.
Yeah, but they do keep doing it.
They certainly make it a concerted effort to.
That's kind of Dustin Daniel Cretton's work with Marvel up to this. I like that they tapped him to showrun this one. I honestly, not until the end of the first episode did I realize he was working on this. And before we get into the series, I'm curious to hear, Ash, did you ever read Wonderman before this? We're both comic book fans. You never read it?
No, but I also noticed that that was kind of like a trend with like post MC, like post Endgame MCU, was you had like fucking Eros, which is Thanos' brother. You had Black Knight.
The Eternals.
You had like the Eternals. You had like
Eternals
really
were
like
big, but I never read the Eternals. I never liked the Eternals, frankly. Even pre-Endgame, obviously he's thought of as like a really big superhero now, but Iron Man was kind of the B team of Marvel.
Yes.
Marvel was Spider-Man, Hulk, and Wolverine were their big three.
Yeah.
And I remember those were like the ones that were, on all the sticker books and stuff. Wolverine was kind of the captain of the B squad. He did have his own animated series in the 90s, but it was so clearly just trying to bite off Batman and X-Men.
Yes.
That it's not good. Don't watch it.
I mean, it's the only that whole thing is the only reason why Sony bought the rights to Spider-Man, and it was just
Spider-Man.
Like,
they
didn't really need anything else besides Spider-Man.
And even like it's I think less common knowledge now, but when the movie was coming out, we all knew about this. Maybe the best Marvel franchise, like sub franchise, is Guardians of the Galaxy, and they were fucking nobodies.
That was kind of the whole people thought it was gonna bomb because they're like,
I thought it was going to
because
I was like 15 at the time. Yeah.
And
that allowed James Gunn to just kind of do what he wanted with it, and it worked significantly well. I'd never read a Wonderman comic in my life. I'm sure he popped up in some like X-Men stories or Avenger stories I had read, but I couldn't tell you what the character's deal was before this show.
Like, even like more obscure than like Moon Knight. At least I like heard.
I read like a decent chunk of Moon Knight.
It was like Wonderman. What the hell's going on over there?
And so, not being a fan of the comic book character, what was your excitement level over this show?
I honestly, I was interested to see if they would be willing to like experiment more with this. I feel like with the characters, people don't know. They feel less pressured to like make it marketable and instead are just focused on writing like an interesting story, like the Guardians, making something good and something unique and your own vision. And I was excited to see if they would do that.
Right.
Do you think
How
they were successful?
Not really. I would kind of say, for me, I don't think the show did anything that interesting. I also don't think the show did anything really wrong. There's nothing I went into the show and I was like, this is bad, I hate this. And there was one thing, which we'll touch on in a little bit, that watching the show, I was like, this is awesome, I love this. It just felt like kind of middle of the road safe for me.
With superhero stories, every plot needs to be like world changing. I find it very interesting when people write superhero stories where the world isn't ending. This is a very massive oversimplification, but like basically like a slice of life, but with a superhero. I like that. I feel like that's hard. People feel like it needs to be much bigger than it is, and then it doesn't feel as lived in. It takes like a lot of restraint to kind of like pull back and just watch this guy live his life. I will agree that like I'm comparing this to like compare this to like Daredevil season 1. Daredevil season 1, you walk away and it just changes your. I remember I'm jealous of people who haven't seen Daredevil season 1. And you walk away and you just are, it's just like on your brain, like it like changes, it punches a hole into your fucking brain with like what you think about like what superhero stories can be. I don't think it's doing that. It's not changing my worldview. It's not really impacting how I view the genre. I think it's cute.
Where I wrote like the stuff I liked in the show, one of the things I did put was that it really does flesh out a universe where it makes it feel like once the camera stopped rolling, people are still living in here.
Like this
Yeah.
feels like a world that like actual people live in. We get that sometimes where they reference like how people react to the blip, but like those moments are few and far between. This isn't like this is a whole show about like just this guy living his life.
When I say like this show really fleshes out the universe, like we know the big pillar moments. So just hearing a character talk about it to me is kind of just like, you remember that movie we did? But when you have like this show is literally just a guy trying to make life as an actor. I say it fleshes out the universe more, and like we get to see some of these people's just day-to-day life. We get to see how superheroes and enhanced individuals have changed the universe in this in small ways. Not just these big ways, but like there's clauses on movie contracts now over superpowered individuals. It's really cool to see
how does this world react to things like Infinity War?
I'm just on a day-to-day basis. Simon is just a guy that if you've worked in any entertainment industry, I would say long enough, but like I barely work in an entertainment industry, and I've met fucking people like him. He's just a guy you would know.
Simon is somebody that like anybody who's like passionate to a fault about what they do in their craft kind of ends up being from time to time.
I guess we could start talking about like the main thing I liked about this show. The cast. I love this cast, mostly.
I am also a fan of the cast.
There's one person I think you're in love with, and then one person I'm in love with here.
We're in love with different people. We get to share this cast.
Yeah. Of course, the lead is played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who I know Ash is a big fan of.
I almost was bisexual for this man.
Handsome dude.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking dude.
He's just a beautiful dude.
He's kind of effortlessly likable, too. And what's funny, he doesn't usually play likable characters, but he just adds something likable to them.
He plays Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen show, and that's like the most like insufferable character of all time.
He's also Black Manta in Aquaman, who's not very likable, but he still adds a little charisma to him. Mateen had also done the Candyman, like, kind of requel that I think is really fucking
Yes.
good. I think he might be the weakest part of it, but that's just because that movie was so well acted that
The
I think
cinematography
it was
in
very. It's
that
Nia
is
DaCosta, who her
incredible.
cinematography in her movies are fucking great. It's one of the reasons I'm excited to see 28 years later, The Bone Temple. So Ashley got his glazing out of the way. Let me get my glazing. Sir Ben Kingsley, Trevor Slattery. What a fucking performance in this, man.
It made me actually give a fuck about Trevor Slattery. To the point where by the spoiler alert, by the end of the show, I'm like crying over Trevor Slattery. You want to know what I thought about this show when it was announced? It was Marvel directing Wonderman show. Oh, I've never heard of this character. That's cool. Wonder if they'll do something interesting with it. With Yahya Abdul-Mateen, hot, and Ben Kingsley as Trevor Slattery. Oh, fuck, I'm not watching this shit. I hate that character. I hate that they keep shoving him in shit.
He was so unneeded in Shang-Chi, but I'm still just like, it's Ben Kingsley. And then I actually think he's
That's your
quite good
man.
in Iron Man 3 to the point where part of me kind of wishes he was the Mandarin, because he's so intimidating. He can play scary. He's got an Oscar for playing scary.
Just like a little Blorbo in this. He's like a
He
funny little guy. Not to like Blorbo like an old man, but like
he's also
America. I am the sexy beast.
he's also, let's see you make a joke out of this one. He's also in like fucking Schindler's List.
America.
Oh god, no. Have you ever watched Sopranos?
Is that even a question?
I love Ben Kingsley's part of Sopranos. He
What the
plays
fuck was he in that?
he plays Ben Kingsley. So Christopher is making a movie. Him and Little Carmine sit down with Ben Kingsley, and Ben Kingsley plays like an asshole
Okay,
version of
funny.
himself. Actually, what's really funny is he does something similar to what Joey Pantoliano did in this show, where he's just playing a version of himself but as an asshole. Which is
He
funny
like passed on the torch.
because Joey Pants was in Sopranos. He's got a good comedic like sense of timing too. He as great of an
In
dramatic
this
actor as he is.
too, yeah.
He's really funny in this while still having these dramatic moments. It makes me forget about that stupid fucking wig he wears in it. You can tell he genuinely cares about Simon.
You can
Interesting.
tell that like they both kind of like
I can tell
help
he cares
ground
about
each
Simon.
other.
Kingsley also gives like this very accurate representation of a recovering addict.
Yes, yeah.
It's done in like a bit of a silly way, but you see like his pride of being sober, which is something I impressed. Because I'm not gonna out anyone. If you know recovering addicts, they are very proud of how long they've been sober, whether it be a month or like 13 years, like he says in this.
Yeah.
And it is something you should be proud of.
Yeah, every day is like hard and like it's rough. The struggle like to maintain that momentum.
He's even got like this kind of character flaw, which is I'm not saying is a bad thing. Characters should have flaws. If you want to make them feel more human.
Absolutely.
Where he kind of blames a whole lot of his problems on addiction, when there is specifically when you get into the shit that Slattery has done, you do have to take personal accountability, and he doesn't do it until the very end. Like
until
that was
he
part of his character.
Like has to, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like uncomfortable to like just go out and say like, yeah, I was an asshole. It's a lot easier to say like, oh, that was not me. That was
the
like
drugs
the addiction
doing it.
Talking. Because that's something you can kind of put to the side and like throw away the key on.
Mm-hmm. But it is, I think, very important to addiction recovery to kind of take onus of a lot of your flaws.
That like two truths can exist at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes, and he does do that by the end, and it's very commendable. Because he makes like a very hard decision for somebody he cares about.
And then when you get into the rest of the extended cast, I really like Simon's family.
I think it makes him feel even more like human.
I don't even want to say a shitty family. He has a very real family.
You've definitely been to like a family function where like
Oh God, yeah.
people might talk to him the way they do, or it's like,
Let me tell you
how's
something.
the job search going?
Every time I go to my grandmother's house, you know, they know they look at me as like someone trying to be in film, which and they're never judgmental of it, which I thank them for. But they're not going to understand the nitty-gritty of what I'm doing, where it's like we're trying to build this whole company on it. So they're always like, "Oh, well, how's it doing? You getting cast in anything?" And it's hard to be like, no.
If they don't like have something like literally the finished project to hold and see, they don't think it's real. I definitely have like family.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you do too.
If it's not finished, it's not like real, and it's like, yeah, this takes like a long time to make. And then you have like, then you go to the like with the family, and there's people getting married, and they're buying houses, and.
But yeah, like Simon's family's very real because they get on his nerves. I mean, that scene where like he freaks out at the party, dog. I can't tell you how many shit's been thrown around my family on Christmases. I love Simon's parents. I like that they're genuinely good people.
Yes,
they're very loving, and I love that Simon's brother, he has like this butting heads relationship with, but his brother does clearly love him. He's just not good at showing it.
He loves him, but isn't always able to wrap his head around it.
Yeah,
because they just approach the world in different ways.
He thinks very practically, and
yes,
art is a very impractical job. Once Simon's brother realizes he's taking it seriously and not just kind of like floating around, he's like, "Yeah, congratulations, man! I'm proud of you."
He instantly assumes like his brother said something bad, and it's like, well, you need to let him open up. Like, you need to open up. Like, this whole thing is about how he needs to like open up.
After that, we start to get into the stuff that I didn't love as much. It's just Simon is such a fucking dick.
There are moments in this where he can be selfish.
I don't know if there's a moment where he's not.
By the end, he isn't.
He does kind of sacrifice a lot to save Trevor in the end.
As much as like he needs to like keep going with what he's doing, he also needs to like ground himself and not remain in his own head. And I feel like I've met students like this in art school where like they're very passionate about what they do, but they are so passionate that they do not let other people in to share and critique their craft.
Right.
And
I'm kind of like that.
I've seen like extremes where like any sort of critique class is just like a personal attack.
Yeah.
And he kind of has to learn this the hard way with his relationship with Trevor. Does that mean it's not that when he's a selfish dick, it's not annoying? No, it still is.
My thing with him...
I think there's certain moments where, specifically when he was filming American Horror Story, where I was like, I get this guy.
I'm the opposite. If you have 2 lines on a TV show, yes, this is an art form. This is also a job. And it is the crew's job to sit here, get set up, and try to get all of these shots on time in a orderly fashion. You have to recognize what you're doing. You have to be mindful of them, too. And Simon really wasn't. Which is why he got fired, is because they're just like, it's too much.
There was still like a consequence to it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a good barometer for Simon throughout the show. I don't think he ever thinks about another human being until the end of the show.
Yeah, which is, I feel like there could have been definitely more of a progression. But from the start, I do like kind of like, I like where the start and the end is just the middle road to get to that is a little clunky. Yes.
Because the thing is, like, I don't know why Trevor likes him. Like, Trevor
I
ruins his
think
own life because he cares about Simon so much. And I'm like, why? Is it just guilt?
every past like MCU project where he's talked about being on stage and he's an actor, it's kind of a joke. Simon's the only person who ever takes it seriously because like he just has no fucking friends because he's a dickhead.
I don't think Simon really thinks about Trevor on stage or anything. I think he's just like, you're helping me film this audition?
Trevor is somebody that like his relationship with him does help his craft and he kind of learns to trust him
Yeah.
a little bit more. Yeah.
Which, again, is why I think he does wind up saving him in the end. But it's also kind of selfish to be like, oh, this guy helped my craft, so I love him. You literally think about
Yeah.
nobody else throughout the whole show.
I think it's kind of cute that
It
they
is
bounce
also
off
kind of cute.
together.
They have really good chemistry.
But I
in the
can
show.
understand like being like annoyed. I think at certain moments like there could have been a better progression from like
It's just, I don't
selfish
think,
asshole
and
to,
I
like,
think it was the
selfish
writing of the
asshole.
show. Like, I don't think it was the intent of, they just didn't give Simon enough likability in it.
They definitely did give him more flaws, which is rare.
Yeah.
Like
Usually
it's
an
kind of the
Ubermensch.
opposite problem a lot of people encounter.
But they kind of were like kind of aping out a whole lot of Mateen's natural charisma, rather than just like writing a flawed but likable character.
Like,
His
I don't
chemistry
know.
with Kingsley, mainly Kingsley's chemistry with him, works very well.
Yes.
They do come off as mostly
does.
friends. You know.
They're cute. It's kind of like a thing that you wouldn't expect to work as well as it does.
Yeah. Trevor's like scenes of regret when he's being confronted. Some really good performances out of the both of them.
And then also that's Simon realizing that he's like criticizing this guy for having like skeletons in his closet and like using him, but he also has been very selfish to the people around him.
Yeah.
So like who is he to really
Exclusively.
like
There's 2 or 3 episodes right in the middle that you could just totally cut.
Yeah, there's some where it's just like
the
you
episode
could
where
slim this down a little bit.
they're hunting down the dude with the camera and shenanigans ensue. Not a very consequential episode.
Or I think it could have been worked a little bit better. I kind of like seeing more of like sort of how he and the people around him react to this very like real consequence.
It was going more into Simon can't let this go out because he's an actor. Meanwhile, this kid recorded
Yes.
him not knowing he's an actor, but just kind of like because he knows they're, shady stuff with superpowered individuals. They don't really touch on that part as much as they really could. Here's what I'll ask though. Amongst the Marvel television shows, like where would you say this ranks for you?
This is definitely one of the better ones of the Disney Plus shows that came out. Just because I feel like this feels from start to finish a whole story that was planned through and like
Yeah. They gave it its
thought
time.
with real intent. From a story perspective, I do like it. It's like up there with one of the better ones. I think I liked WandaVision and Moon Knight visually, but I think like closer to the end, I feel like they didn't know how to end it.
I think this is kind of middle of the pack. With that being said, there's some shows I haven't watched. The ones I said I liked, I definitively liked more than Wonderman was WandaVision, which I thought was great until the last episode, which I think is just okay.
I agree.
Daredevil, I still love Daredevil. Even the new stuff.
Good show.
I know people weren't crazy about the first season. I actually quite liked it. X-Men 97, fucking loved it. Here's what you gotta realize. X-Men is a soap opera. They give a lot of cool shit to Nightcrawler and Gambit, who are my 2 favorite X-Men.
The coolest X-Men.
They're my 2 favorite. Nightcrawler is my favorite superhero of all time. I kind of rank Wonderman on the same level of Captain America and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier had higher highs but lower lows.
I'd rank it a little bit higher, but not by
And I
much.
get it. Because there are some lows in Falcon and the Winter Soldier where I'm like, oh my god, this is weird, or I don't care. But then on the plus side, I really like Wyatt Russell in it. because I just like Wyatt Russell a lot.
I like that he's in it, yeah.
Now we have to do the thing that every podcast does when they're talking about MCU projects, where we have to talk about the future of Marvel. Everyone's like, oh, is it over for Marvel? Or are we back? So, do you think it's so over, or are we so back?
Yes, no, maybe. Who cares?
Marvel is in the same place it's always been, where people are going to bitch and moan about it, and for the most part, they're going to release some pretty cookie-cutter stuff that I'm not that interested in, but then also they're going to occasionally...
Yum, my daily slop.
Occasionally they're going to release something I care about a lot. Everyone's going to be like, Marvel's so back, but it's like, no.
Any win coming from, like, corporate soup slop in any shape or form is accidental. It's from the people who just happen to catch that lightning in a bottle.
I will probably watch season 2 of Wonderman for the same reason I watched season 1, which is that we have a podcast where we need to talk about things. Do you have any final thoughts about Wonderman?
I want to watch a really pretentious, like, artsy fartsy movie now. Like, I need to eat my vegetables after this.
My final thought on Wonderman is that I liked his sunglasses. All right, how about for a final question? You know how we like to ask final questions in this podcast. Based on what you've seen of Simon's acting ability, would you cast him in your movie?
No.
I fucking wouldn't either.
Because he doesn't have enough off-putting energy. If I were to direct a movie, I would direct Napoleon Dynamite.
I think I know that Wonderman audition, it was supposed to be like his big break, and he did it. I think his audition kind of sucked. It was kind of one note. There's not a lot of ups and downs. He almost just says the words. He doesn't show, there's no variety like you should show in an audition, man. So yeah, that's it. That's our conversation on Wonderman. A wondrous show, if you will. If you won't, that's fair. At the end of these episodes recently, we've been making pledges, and I have a great one today for you, Ash, that we're both going to commit to.
I'm scared. What is it?
So obviously Wonderman, a huge part of the story is it taking place in the film industry. So how about for our pledge, we work on a film set?
Oh, that's super awesome. And, that's such a challenge. I wonder when we'll do that.
Fun fact, this is some pretty big news. As of you guys seeing this, we'll be done at least with our principal shooting. But
Yay!
Ash and I are going to be working on a film set for the next big Vibe Too Many short film.
I'm going to be a gripper, and I'm going to have a camera, and I'm going to make posters.
If you follow us on Instagram, which you guys should, we've been kind of like working our way up to the Garbage Men. We're officially shooting it as of the day we're recording this, tomorrow. Ashton and I are working on a film set. Can you believe it? The Vibe Too Many boys.
Yay!
The lads. Ashton, thanks for coming to hang out and talk about Wonderman with us.
Of course. It's been a wonder.
And this is why Ashton doesn't get cast, like Simon Williams. Perhaps too many. I've been KJ Collelo.
I've been Ashton Byrne.
Bella ciao, folks.
Bella ciao.